Hey, good morning. I'm going to do a topic on addiction and the, the role of, it says, insights of medical use of cannabis, potential benefits, risks associated with addiction for the medical marijuana usage. And to begin, I begin with my prayer, which my teacher granted. It is Nityananda Paramashiva Gana Shatkara Prapti Rastu. This is the blessing he gave us last week. Chit is emotional flow of our deepest perception of wisdom. And um, this is a book I'm releasing called Bartender Certification Program, and it has most of the speech I'm going to make today available, and you can order it via our website canalounge.com. And I will pause this. I apologize for that phone call. So this is a 15-minute topic I'm going to talk about, and this is for upcoming Tampa Bay Cannabis.com, sponsored by Satira Wellness. Thank you, Satira, for inviting us. So today I prepared my lecture. So this is what I'll be speaking about on July 15th in St. Pete Fairgrounds. So the first question for me is my insight on medical use of cannabis, potential benefits, risks associated with addiction. To understand addiction, the root cause analysis, we need to also understand what is recovery about. Recovery is you can only recover if you understand what you lost. So addiction, the root cause, always God is described as inverted tree of life. So the root is our belief system, and the trunk is our body, the body of knowledge, wisdom. The branches are both our teachers and elders who we imbibe the wisdom from. The leaves are our feet, the walk we do because of the understanding of our ability to balance between self worth and the insight our parents gave us about our tradition. So that is called Vatavarana, meaning like the ambience or the space we create to be the identity of self. So, what it is based on? Three things. One is our temperament. The temperament comes from the way we are raised. Our behaviors is influenced by people who nurture and raise us, and our personality. All this is gathered like how they say in ancient uh, time, a child is reared by the village. So it's the land that creates our behavior. And when we associate with five people who are in a group influencing us, we become the sixth one. So who we associate with matters, how we are influenced matters, who we look up to matters, because what becomes a power of choice becomes a behavior, behavior becomes the habit, habit becomes the character, and character leaves us with a legacy. So if you understand all these, we would be able to understand what choices we make. So when I was in an Alcoholic Anonymous group, participating. Always they talk about powerlessness, whether it's over alcohol, behaviors, debt, narcotics, um, addictions, all these things, right? It's always they choose to be powerless over something. Whereas smart recovery is about choices, like uh, cognitive behavior therapy, smart is self-management and recovery training. So the marriage between both smart recovery and recovery coaching became comprehensive validation therapy. So I wrote to Alcoholic Anonymous. I said, can I rewrite this as Positive Anonymous 12 step program? So we have a website called positive12steps.org. You can take a look at this. It's all grouped under unwholesome behavior. So what doesn't allow us to, what does not allow us to become wholesome is a problem. The funny thing that happened was a girl in our group came and she looked at our book, Positive Anonymous 12 Step Program, and she said, oh my God, now people have a problem with being positive. So it's so funny how we associate to that word anonymous, whatever precedes that to be a problem. So our mind is set on being powerless, but instead the choice, the power of choice, which is what smart recovery focuses on, we took it into the comprehensive validation therapy, and then the National Institute of Corrections in Vermont developed it further into thinking for a change. So this is the core of addiction, how the recovery treatment is based on. So I focus on thinking for a change. So if we change our thinking, we can change our behavior. So that's as simple as that. So what is the root cause of addiction? Not able to understand my inner value, so I am feeling nourished at a place where it allows me to feel accepted. That's all. It's very simple. Um, a inability to cope with very stringent society and unnourished uh, soul that feels it doesn't belong somewhere and it tries to seek acceptance. And once it develops like the spirit develops this goal of being accepted, it will do whatever it takes to fit in. Okay. So to create recovery, we need to create same way ability to have a sober bar. That's why I like the kava bars that's popping up. It's called sober bar, and it's that is my kind of my quick wrap up on addiction. And why did I use cannabis? Because cannabis, endocannabinoid, was part of the recovery process. Shiva, in ancient Sanskrit, said there are five sacred herbs that's very important for coping. One is soma. Soma is an alkaloid that comes from harmel or harmaline, which is a Syrian rue. It's a rue plant that allows the body to accept the alkaloid as amides, the anandamide. But the main ingredient in this is dimethyltryptophan, which allows, like the body to have the similar experience like anandamide. It's like a alkaloid. And then bong, which is cannabis, barley, and then there is a special type of rice that gives ceramide, Cramide, for people who want to know. Ceramide is also available through chocolates and colostrum, but the herb Shiva chose is a special type of brown rice that secretes ceramide. And then the fifth one is kava root. The kava interestingly, is a root from Peperum longus. In India, they use it for people in recovery from major surgery, childbirth, and they use it to create 40-day um, program where the digestion gets normalized. So there is no stress or digestion. So these are the five sacred herbs: soma, bong, barley, um, ceramide from rice, and then kava roots. Okay, so I decided to do medicine in spiritual way. Cannabis was the closest I could practice to bring people from addiction to recovery. And my insight, like I said, why I chose medical cannabis is I used to give a rule to my patients that do not break the law. So whatever is legally available in recovery use it. And 2013 in Massachusetts, when cannabis became legal, I was a recovery coach there, and my patient says it's time for me to get involved so that I allow them to legally use it so they would not violate the law. So I felt it was appropriate. They asked me to get involved, so I got involved. I am a homeopathic cannabinoid medicine specialist, and I found each part of the uh, herb, like the root of the cannabis, was secreting CBN, the trunk was CBG, the branches were CBDV, and CBC, the leaves were THCA and THCV, and then the fruits, like where the terpenes. So I kind of understood how the whole thing works, and I'm also a clairvoyant, so I was able to put together and the whole terpene profile uh, we created, and we were able to do it as microfrequency therapy. So people were able to use the terpene chart as a terpene wheel, and I was able to teach it as well. So we produced the frequency in a subwoofer and converted the atomic weight of the cannabis and terpenes. And when we programmed it into our software, we were able to change behaviors of patients. And this is called microfrequency therapy for addiction and recovery, and I can talk further about it in future videos. So then, what is the potential benefit? It allows cannabis allows really uh, ability to enjoy life and to be in a space where recovery is easier for patients. That's what I found. Like for example, one of my patients said he was 1 year into recovery. He never felt a joy. And that is when he, came across a incident where he went to Walmart accidentally. The cashier gave him a $100 bill as an exchange for a $10 bill he gave her. And in his normal life, he would have got high with that money, but instead he decided to give it back. And when she sobbed and said, "You saved my job," he first time felt joy. And that is the first time he felt emotion. He allowed himself to feel an emotion. And that's when recovery made sense to him. So people being in a state of numbness about their life, cannabis allows them to create a space and also the time for recovery that creates them a safety so they don't need to feel the cravings in the mind, making them go back into addiction. What are some consideration as treatment for addiction and related conditions? So I found cannabis has a different components. It's very, very simple. So if you understand, the cannabinoids are only seven, and the THC component, which is the eighth component, and then terpenes are more than 200 or even more, we don't know. But all these together create a synergistic effect in the body. It's like entourage effect. That is, it reprograms the cell. The cell is able to listen finally, saying, oh, I am hurt, or this is the reason I'm hurt. So it allows them to have a time portal where they can process their deep emotions and like how serenity prayer is take accountability and heal the things I can and accept the things I cannot change and move forward in life. So it really allows them to have a space that they can program themselves. There is no perfect formula for cannabis in recovery. So most of the time I tell patients it is a ratio, how much CBD you want versus how much THC. THC is very acidic. Interestingly, right, in hydroponic store, if you go in, they'll have cannabis plant and they'll measure the plant's pH. And I'll ask them why, and they say, oh, if the pH is altered, if it is too acid, we need to add alkaline, and if it is too uh, alkaline, we need to add acid. So the pH is at a state where the plant will finally absorb nutrients. That's the same with cannabis. So if the patients feel their mouth is very dry, cotton mouth, their THC level is very high. So you want to add CBD so the mouth feels moist. And if in case the the muscles feel tight and not really comfortable, then you want to add THC. THC allows the muscles to relax, and CBD allows the nerves to relax. So you want both to be in a place that you feel you are able to deal with mind cravings and body cravings. So the body cravings are gone with high levels of CBD and some amount of THC. So there is a balance. But the mind craving sometimes need more attention. So that's when ceramide plays a part. And the role of ceramide, like you can add dark chocolate, you can add colostrum and muscarinic acids like mushrooms, which is nanotechnology. They've introduced 4.5 milligram and below, which Florida uh, from July 1st of 2022, nanotechnology of muscarinic acid. It's not psilocybin. It's the mushroom that is not over the counter, but adult only use. They call it magic mushroom. My favorite one is cordyceps that allows the cravings in the brain to get better. The other choice I've told patients is buprenorphine. If we do a rapid taper in the hospitals, we do 2 milligram 4 times a day. The day one, day two is 3 times a day, twice a day. The day three and fourth day is one tabs, which is 2 milligram, and we release the patients on the fifth day after the detox, and then they are only on over-the-counter um, products, which I usually recommend them using belladonna tincture, which is available as a homeopathic product, or it is also prescription belladonna tincture. But sometimes I'll ask my patients to add 2 milligrams Vasu into the tinctures and they can taper themselves slowly. In that tincture, if you add hydroxylate component of cannabis, you will have a perfect compound with cannabis, buprenorphine. Buprenorphine, you can get it now as a pain management because SAMHSA released the data waiver, so any physician can prescribe you a 3 day supply, and then belladonna tincture, all three together. You can have a compounded pharmacy mix it for you, and then you can dose yourself and taper off completely because buprenorphine is a very good mood stabilizer, pain management, um, opiate antagonist, and then the belladonna takes away the cravings, and it's alkaloid, and then cannabis. All three tinctures together works very well in tapers. Okay, that's my second question. My third question was, I'm approaching 15 minutes. How does the medical community view the use of psychedelics in addiction? I think they're equally split. People who are comfortable. See, there are three sets of people. One set has mental health issues, and they don't like people with issues of addiction. People with addiction don't tend to, especially in the recovery, they don't like cannabis, and so they shy away from cannabis. And society doesn't like either of them. People with addiction, people with mental health issue. So I think this triad is operational even in medical society. So they are totally against addiction either because they are on the other side of addiction, their family, like they have watched one of their family members suffer, so they are totally opposed to it. Versus people who have gone through, who have seen the benefits, they are totally for it. So it all depends on their belief system, how they were raised, how um, they think it is morality value. Like in India, cannabis is prohibited. So most of the Indian family might say no, and Asians did have a tendency not to um, like cannabis. So I think it all depends on the cultural value, whereas US is very progressive, so they allow uh, cannabis for recovery. Israel have lots of research studies on cannabis. So it all depends on cultural background and how they view addiction that allows medical community either to support it or remain neutral or prohibit. And unfortunately, it is on a patient's end to look out for their recovery and their future. And I hope I answered most of your question. My website is canalounge.com. My colleague is Carmita Parks. You can get in touch with her, she will support you. And my business partner is Dawn Trudeau. She is an expert in naturopath physician, and she would be doing a lecture for SunMed in September, and hope we all of us come together to answer many of your questions. Thank you so much for watching my